Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Tibby Time. I am here with a very hairy person, well, presumptuously, and a very thick enjoyer. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is MackBeard. I am the one with the many hair on his face.
The name MackBeard, how did you come up with that?
Actually, it came by one of my best friends that had a dream. He dreamt that I was a YouTuber named MackBeardy, and so I said to myself, "Huh, MackBeard."
Did you have any previous names before that?
Other than my personal name, nothing really.
How long ago was this name creation exactly?
I really don't know, so I'm gonna say at least 10 years.
10 years ago. Wow. When did you start drawing and why?
Wow, that is a really long story. I'm guessing it's like the usual for everyone that draws, but first time I put a pen to a paper was at 2 years old.
What'd you end up drawing?
What do you think a 2 year old is gonna draw?
Were you drawing thick ladies at the time?
No, no, I was drawing cars.
What gave you your sickness for the thickness exactly?
Huh. Well, really funny. It came out like I was looking up for some, some Pokemon pictures, and then I encountered one of the pics that was a little bit more rounder.
Got you started. What gave you? Wait, no, wrong one. What kind of Pokemon was it?
Well, it was. I do remember it quite clearly. It was a Lugia.
How thick was this Lugia that you were describing?
Well, just I would say maybe half the original size, so not extremely big.
But big enough to leave an impression.
Mm-hmm. That definitely leaves a scar on my brain.
So
And
if you started with Pokemon that led you into the thickness business, why did it take you so long to finally make a Pokemon character?
well, I was only like a really young teenager when I was into Pokemons, but mostly like into the TV show and all that. And then I guess after a while I phased out of it, just lost interest with it.
Why did you think it was cringy or something?
No, I wouldn't say that. Maybe it was like over popularized.
Too confusing?
Maybe, maybe. Like I'm an old timer Pokemon fan. The classic 100.
You definitely are a more unconventional OC creator. What's the story behind your bugs, Abel and Lyris? Is that how you say it? L and
Larnus.
Lyris. Okay. So what's the
Well,
stories? Why are they bugs?
well, I would say um, the fascination with insect. Well, it isn't that old. I would say like this fascination came like 4 or 5 years ago, and I was looking up to create some D&D races, and I wanted to create some unique looking insects. And so I came up with the designs for some sentient humanoid looking grasshoppers. Then I started up to do, trading with some people, exchanging art. I always enjoy seeing like using my race design as a subject for a trade. Then one artist did it just right.
Which artist was this?
It was uh, let me look it up real quick. Ah, yeah, that spit too.
I noticed you do a definitely a lot of trades, me included. Do you have any favorite artists, or like who are your inspirations that really make you get your style?
Oh, to get my style, well, I would say the very first fan artist that I really liked there was Gil Panda and Eddie Okapi. Those two were kind of like my top inspiration at the time.
Do you have a favorite like of all of those that you mentioned that you would like to work with in the future?
Well, all of them.
Have you reached out to any of them to work with them?
No, I'm only prefer to know to let it go like naturally. No, if they end up discovering my stuff and liking it, now it's my turn to reach out to them because this is a signal that they appreciate my work.
So, with all of the stuff that you've seen out there, I noticed that you seem to have like gained like a little bit of comic book creation. Now, there's this one comic that you have worked on for quite a bit, but it kind of disappeared. It was a story about Suzanne becoming more chunky. Whatever happened to that comic? Are you ever going to continue?
Well, I did recently a redesign of the character. I just feel that with this new fresh sensation of the character, it might give me the motivation to get back to it, as I would say, like before it did get a little bit stagnate with all the newer project and the new characters and all that. But yeah, I might get back to it.
So, how did you even like come up with the design for Suzanne? Because it's simple, but it's also kind of unique.
Well, actually, I was a little inspired by another artist that made some space lizard, and I said to myself, like, I really like this design, and so I took a little bit of this and created something awesome and nice.
Who came first, Suzanne or the two bugs?
Susan.
I noticed you've been, especially since you said you just redesigned her design and something that you showed me. Are you kind of going back through your old art catalog and kind of remastering your old art? If so, would you start the comic over again if you continued?
No, I will not restart it over, but I will readjust the newer parts with the new look. But yes, I do am in the process of redesigning some old characters.
Do you have a favorite piece that you worked on or a favorite piece that you've remastered recently?
Favorite piece, it's a. I would say the favorite one that I did it was for a close friend of mine. They asked for a commission for a D&D boss, and the picture is just absolutely amazing. Even saying to myself, I don't think I've achieved this level of quality before, even way after.
So, continuing from this amazing piece that you made, have you learned anything? Do you have a favorite part of the drawing process now?
Yeah, basically it's a term used into painting miniature, but it's what is it called? It's basically playing with light effect and shading.
Well, with your experience with miniatures and models like that, I was wondering, would you ever consider getting like a 3D printer and maybe getting models of different things and painting it for people?
Well, I would say no, because art itself takes time, and with with time, I've decided to accept that I won't be able to do everything that I want to do. So I decided to just limit myself to complete things that I wish to do. So no, I will not get a 3D printer.
Do you have a limit to the type of thickness that you have? I noticed the sizes can vary, but is there a size that you prefer or a limit to how chunky they can become?
Well, I have a very, very high preference for as tall as it is large. But for maximum bigness, hmm, well, I prefer to not go too much big.
So how would you say too much big? What do you mean by that? Like building or car or smaller or because you've drawn some pretty chunky ladies.
Well, I've already made boat size, and I haven't really go further than this.
So what you're saying is that the limit is more up to however you're feeling that day or up to interpretation.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
I know you really like your bugs, but other than them, who's are your like other favorite OCs to draw? Like who's your all-time favorite of all of them, including the bugs, honestly?
All-time favorite. Well, I know for one sure that the one that I drew the most is Suzanne. There is also this very nice alien lady called Misa that I drew quite a bit. And of course, the bug couple. So maybe these three are my top drawings.
I noticed you did like a really good animation of Suzanne. Are you ever going to animate again? Because what you did was rather impressive for like a first time animating.
Probably, I just need to find a good program that doesn't limit me to 24 frame for one animation. Thank you, CSP.
Speaking of like platforms and stuff like that, I noticed you have a Fur Affinity and you also have a Twitter. Is do you have are there any other places people can find you other than that? And honestly, what's your favorite platform?
Well, I enjoy FA because it has a good way to store a gallery. So it's very orderly and you can easily find back art and all of this. But when it's question to discussion with other people and talking with other people, it's shit. It's absolute shit. And for Twitter, I like it because whenever you post something, it gets a lot of attention. And it is also very easy to make contact with other people and finding other people. But no way you can have a stable art gallery there.
The media tab certainly isn't really up to par, I definitely say. But with like reaching out to people, do you have any big future plans for your art or something like that? What
Oh,
that comes with other people, or are you gonna be more like more of a solitary artist? Like, what are your future plans per se?
um, future plan as in drawing projects or with other people projects.
Both, pretty much. Basically,
Both.
how do you see yourself in like 5 years from now, art career wise?
That is something that I never ever ask myself because I don't know what the hell I'll do in 5 years. 5 years ago, if you told me that I would do porn art for some side money, I wouldn't believe you. So basically, I don't believe in those things that you can predict what you will do in 5 years. So to answer your question, I have no clue.
Hmm. And then an old picture you did from Mother's Day. Did Abel ever have her child that she had?
This is still on the idea board. It will be soon. I cannot tell how soon, but it is still something that I need to do.
So, what is the world that your bug people live in? Is it more fantasy oriented, or how does the technology world? Would you mind describing your lore per se?
ISI. I created a nice fantasy era that is the borderline between fantasy medieval and Renaissance. Maybe a little bit of steampunk, just a bit. I would say it's more like what's the word? Low fantasy, you know.
Is there anything that you would like your fans to know about you in particular? Like if there's a certain thing that how or way that you'd want them to contact you, or how open you are to contact?
Well, the thing is, I always enjoy when people reach out to me and say hi and all that, or I just wanted to know more about my stuff. I'm always really open with this.
So in the future, because you mentioned that you don't really have future plans or anything like that, what about the recent future? What are you working on right now?
Well, I can't really say, but I need to continue the Shark Boat series. Then also need to continue the character progression with Abel and Larnus. And there's also the Suzanne comic that I want to go back to. Those are technically my bigger projects that I have to work with.
Is that more in like a comic form, or is this more just like pictures that are slowly slipped in to tell a story?
Um, all of them except for one are just pictures.
I assume the only one that is not pictures would be the shark boat because that's more of a sequence per se. Also, are we ever going to see more sequences? Because the ones you did seem to do very well.
The Shark Boat. Can you let's see your question again, please?
Mm-hmm. So I noticed. So the one that you're saying that isn't just images, would that be the shark boat? Because that is a sequence, and I was going to ask as well. Your sequences seem to do really well. I'm surprised you don't do more of them.
Well, sequences just it takes a lot of time, you know, because you need to have a certain level of consistency between each pictures. Even though it does have an incredible result when it's done, and it is really nice to do and fun. I guess I just got burrowed under all those other projects to make another one.
Kind of swamped by work per se.
A little bit.
Is there anything that you want your fans to know about you in particular, or any advice for them?
Uh, One thing I have to say, yes, I have a real beard. Yes, it is big and bushy, and it is brown.
So your name is your name Mac? Is that the true question?
No,
So the name is only half the truth.
technically it's better than no truth.
That is true. Well,
And for advice, I would say, for all of you who draws and are starting, keep drawing. Draw more. Draw every day. Draw every week. It's the only way you'll get better. It's by keep drawing.
well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Well, thank you for inviting me on the show. It really is awesome.
Well, everybody, if you really like thick lizards or you really, really like thick bugs, well, I have the place for you. It's at MackBeard on Twitter. Please go follow him. He's definitely a very underrated artist and should get a lot more attention. Now, everybody, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.